Hello students, now here is the solution of D and E part of chapter number 11, that is force and pressure. Okay, here it goes. The question number 1 is, what is force? What are the four main effects of force? The force is either a push or a pull. Four main effects of force are: it can make stationary objects move, or it can change its position of rest. It can change the speed of a moving object. Force can change the direction of motion of a moving object. It can change the shape or size of an object. Now, question number 2. What is the difference between contact and non-contact force? Explain with the help of one example each. Some forces act on bodies only when they are in contact with the body. These are known as contact forces, example muscular frictional force, whereas some other forces can also act on body which are not in contact. They are known as non-contact force. Examples are electrostatics, magnetic force, gravitational force, etc. Now question number 3. What is friction? Explain with an example. Friction is a force that slows things down or prevents things from moving. Examples are ball rolling on the ground slows down and then comes to rest after moving a certain distance. The opposing force exerted by the ground on the rolling ball is the friction. Okay, now these are the answers of D column. Now next slide. Fourth question, what are caterpillar track used in battle tank instead of tires? Heavy tank have broad chain called caterpillar tracks, which considerably increases the area of contact. The tracks help the tank to distribute its weight more evenly over a larger surface area than wheel can. This prevents it from sinking in areas where wheeled vehicles of the same weight would sink. Now question number 5th, that is, how does the pressure exerted by a liquid change with depth? Explain with a diagram. For this you have to give an activity, like pressure increases with the depth. Okay, now for this you have to take a plastic container with a hole at the different levels. You just fill it with water, open the tap. You will find that the lowest hole, from the lowest hole the water is coming out very fast or very strong with the strongest force than with the uppermost hole. Okay, so pressure increases with depth. Next, question number 6. When you press a rubber sucker on smooth surface, it sticks to surface. Explain why this happen. When I press rubber sucker on a smooth surface, it sticks to the surface. This happens because there is a very little air between the sucker and the smooth surface to push from inside. Therefore, the greater atmospheric pressure from outside pushes the sucker firmly to the surface. Now, these all answers 1 to 6 are of D section of chapter number 11. Now, let us see the next E section answers. Two forces acts on an object. Explain what the net force acting on the object will be in the different situation. When two or more forces act on an object in different direction, the effect on the object is due to the magnitude and direction of the net force acting on it. First, when force are applied on an object in the same direction, then they add up. The net force on the object is single force whose magnitude is the sum of two forces. Okay, and the net force acts in the same direction as the two forces, whereas the forces, when they are applied in the opposite direction, then they oppose each other, so the net force will be the difference between the two forces, and this net force will act in the direction of the larger force. If the two opposing forces are equal, the net force is 0. Now question number 2, explain the effects that a force acting on an object can have on the object. A force applied on an object can have various effects on it. Some of them are listed below. Force can make a stationary object move. It can change the speed of the moving object. It can make the moving object to comes in a stationary position. and it can also change the direction as well as shape and size. Now come to the next part of it. Describe an experiment to show that air exerts pressure in all direction. For this, you have to write your activity which is given on your page 150 of your book. This is activity number 11.5. Okay, in this you have to take a bottle filled with hot water, let the steam goes out, then place it in a ice cold water. You will find that that bottle becomes like this, means it exerts pressure, atmospheric pressure in all the direction. There is a less air inside, less pressure inside, and bottle becomes torn. You can see bottle get the atmospheric pressure and it crushed like this. Okay, so here it goes, and here this answers we have done so far of D and E part. These are the E part answers, okay, of lesson 11. So thank you, student.